It was supposed to be a simple weekend getaway.
4 longtime friends had planned a retreat to a remote cabin nestled deep in the woods, a chance to escape the noise of their everyday lives and reconnect with each other. But what began as a weekend of laughter, shared memories, and quiet reflection would soon spiral into a nightmare none of them could have imagined.
The group arrived on a Friday evening.
The cabin, tucked away behind thick trees and accessible only by a narrow dirt road, was rustic but cozy. The fire pit outside was already lit, casting a warm glow that flickered against the darkening sky.
The smell of pine filled the air as they unloaded their bags and settled in.
The first to arrive was the woman who had organized the trip, a determined, sharp-witted journalist with a knack for uncovering secrets. She was excited to spend time away from the pressure of her city job. Next came her oldest friend, a tech entrepreneur whose confidence sometimes bordered on arrogance but who had a soft spot for the group.
Then there was the quiet artist, introspective and cautious, often the peacemaker.
The last to join was a charismatic actor, always quick with a joke but hiding wounds that very few knew about.
As they gathered around the fire that first night, the conversation flowed easily.
Old stories resurfaced, and new ones were shared, painting a picture of lives intertwined in ways both profound and messy.
But beneath the surface, tension simmered. Unspoken secrets hovered in the air, waiting for the right moment to break free. The next morning, they set out to explore the dense forest surrounding the cabin.
The journalist suggested a hike to a nearby waterfall, a picturesque spot known only to locals. The path was rugged, and the canopy thick with leaves that filtered the sunlight into dappled patterns on the ground. Halfway there, they stumbled upon a hidden trail branching off from the main path, one none of them had noticed before. Driven by curiosity, they decided to follow it, unaware that this choice would alter the course of their weekend forever. The trail led deeper into the woods, the sounds of civilization fading into the distance. Suddenly, the artist stopped, eyes wide with unease.
Something didn't feel right.
The group paused, scanning the shadows around them. Before anyone could react, the sound of footsteps echoed behind them, deliberate and fast. Out of the underbrush, a figure emerged, face obscured by a hood.
Panic rippled through the friends. The actor tried to reason with the stranger, but there was no time.
The hooded figure lunged, grabbing the journalist.
The others scrambled, shouting for help, but the dense forest swallowed their cries. Within moments, the assailant dragged the journalist away, disappearing into the thicket. The remaining 3 were frozen, stunned by the sudden violence. The entrepreneur immediately took charge, calling emergency services. But with no signal deep in the woods, their calls failed to go through. The actor tried to track the direction of the kidnappers, while the artist comforted the shaken group. As night fell, a desperate plan formed. They had to find a way to rescue their friend themselves. But as they ventured further into the dark forest, they soon realized this was no ordinary kidnapping. The cabin's peaceful facade began to crack. Strange symbols appeared carved into the trees, and ominous sounds echoed in the distance. The friends uncovered clues suggesting that someone close to them might be involved, a betrayal that cut deeper than the forest shadows. Tensions rose as accusations flew. The entrepreneur's secrets came to light, revealing debts and desperate deals. The actor's past entanglements hinted at dangerous connections. The artist wrestled with his own hidden guilt, unsure whom to trust. Every step toward finding the journalist brought more questions. Was the kidnapping a random act, or part of a larger, more sinister plan? Who had the most to gain from their friend's disappearance? Amidst the darkness and danger, the friends faced their worst fears, not just about the threat outside but the secrets they'd kept hidden from each other for years. The weekend that was meant to heal old wounds instead tore them wide open. And as the final pieces of the puzzle fell into place, the truth revealed itself in the most shocking way imaginable, one that would change their lives forever. The town was gripped by a suffocating tension that thickened with every passing day. The discovery of the unidentified body near the river had sent shockwaves through the close-knit community, and yet, it seemed to only deepen the mystery surrounding the missing girl. With the forensic team confirming the remains were not hers, everyone found themselves caught in a web of questions and suspicions that seemed to grow more tangled by the hour. The sheriff's deputy,
a man seasoned by years of unraveling small-town secrets, found himself drowning in an ocean of contradictions. Every lead he pursued led him deeper into the shadows of the forest and the murky corridors of power within the town. He began by revisiting the eyewitness accounts, particularly the woman who had reported seeing a shadowy figure dragging a struggling person near the old abandoned cabin. Her trembling voice painted a chilling scene, one that suggested the forest was not merely a place of silence but a stage for unspeakable acts.
The deputy and his team returned to the dilapidated cabin with renewed urgency.
Its windows were cracked, doors hanging off their hinges, and inside, the air was thick with the smell of mildew and neglect. On the floorboards, fresh scratch marks disrupted the dust, and scattered belongings hinted at recent occupation, a cigarette still burning faintly at the edge of an ashtray, a bottle of whiskey half empty. The deputy's gaze was drawn to a message scrawled hastily on the peeling wallpaper in dark, almost frantic handwriting: "She's closer than you think." The ambiguity of the message gnawed at him. Was it a warning, a taunt, or a clue left by someone desperate for help?
Meanwhile, the missing girl's mother refused to be confined by grief. Her sorrow had transformed into a relentless drive to find answers on her own terms. One cold night, she ventured alone into the dark forest with nothing but a flickering flashlight, and a heart full of hope. The woods, with their towering trees and endless shadows, felt alive with silent menace. Leaves crunched beneath her feet, and every snap of a twig sent her heart racing. As she neared the cabin, a sudden movement caught her eye, a dark figure slipping behind the trees, vanishing before she could identify them. She returned shaken, but with a determination as fierce as ever. Back at the station, the deputy took the mother's account seriously. He began to suspect the figure she saw was more than a random passerby. It could be the kidnapper, or worse, someone involved in the town's dark underbelly. Delving into old case files, the deputy uncovered a disturbing pattern: multiple young women had vanished in the area over the past decade. These disappearances had been quietly swept under the rug, their investigations stifled by those in power. The missing girl was not an isolated case, she was part of a grim legacy that had haunted the town for years. The deputy's investigation soon put him on a collision course with the town's elite. Business owners, law enforcement officials, even politicians, all had shadows in their pasts. Whispers of bribes, intimidation, and blackmail surfaced, painting a picture of systemic corruption designed to protect secrets at any cost. The deputy began to receive veiled threats, warning him to cease his inquiries. But the flames of justice burned too brightly in his chest to be extinguished. The mother found unexpected support in a local journalist, a tenacious woman who had her own reasons for seeking the truth, and an old friend of the missing girls who refused to believe she was gone forever. Together, they began to uncover hidden meetings held in the dead of night, gatherings where deals were struck, and dangerous alliances forged. Mysterious phone calls, coded messages, and a network of silence formed the backdrop of their pursuit. Then came the anonymous package to the journalist, grainy photos showing the missing girl, bound and frightened, inside a cabin deep in the woods. The images were dated just days before, shattering any hope that she was lost to time. It was a cruel game by the kidnapper, who was now taunting them, daring them to close in. The deputy coordinated a covert raid on the cabin depicted in the photos. As his team surrounded the property, tension hung heavy in the night air. Inside, they found fresh signs of occupancy but no trace of the girl. Instead, hidden beneath the loose floorboard was a secret chamber filled with chilling trophies, personal items belonging to several missing women, including a locket known to belong to the girl's mother. The grim discovery confirmed their worst fears: the kidnapper had been active for years, collecting these keepsakes as trophies. The raid rocked the town, unraveling a facade of normalcy that had masked a horrifying truth. The mayor, confronted with the evidence, denied involvement but stumbled through evasive answers. The journalist faced increased censorship, her articles pulled and her sources silenced. The mother, fueled by pain and determination, vowed to break the conspiracy wide open. Then the final twist, a note left at the police station with the chilling message: "Look closer to home." The deputy's blood ran cold. Had the kidnapper infiltrated the investigation itself? Was someone they trusted the mastermind behind it all? The town was caught in a maelstrom of fear and suspicion.
Trust was a scarce commodity, and every friend could be a foe. As the mother, deputy, and journalist prepared for the confrontation ahead, they knew the path to truth was fraught with danger. The darkness surrounding the missing girl's fate was deeper and more terrifying than any of them had imagined, and the answers they sought might come at the highest price. The message, "Look closer to home," echoed in the deputy's mind like a death knell.
It was a warning that shattered all his assumptions and forced him to question everything and everyone around him. The investigation, which had once seemed straightforward, now spiraled into a nightmarish maze where trust was scarce, and betrayal lurked behind every smile.
He gathered the mother and the journalist in the cramped back room of the station.
The atmosphere was thick with tension and unspoken fears. "We have to consider the possibility that the kidnapper is someone inside the town," he said, voice low but firm. "Someone with access to information, someone who knows how to cover their tracks." The mother clenched her fists, anger and heartbreak intertwining. "Who could it be?"
"Someone we know. Someone we trusted?" The journalist, her eyes sharp and restless, replied, "That's what we need to find out."
"We have to dig deeper, into the people closest to the investigation, the ones with the most to lose."
Their suspicion fell first on the police chief, a man who had been oddly distant from the case and quick to dismiss leads that pointed toward a broader conspiracy.
The deputy's gut told him the chief was hiding something, but proving it was another matter.
Quietly, he began to review the chief's calls, emails, and financial records. Meanwhile, the mother continued her own search, determined to find any clue the authorities might have missed. She returned to the forest, retracing every step she had taken before, this time with a friend who was familiar with the woods. In the dense underbrush, they discovered a shallow grave, hastily covered but unmistakably fresh. The remains belonged to another young woman, missing for months, whose disappearance had been quietly buried by the system. News of the grave's discovery spread like wildfire, igniting outrage across the town. Protests erupted outside the police station, demanding answers and justice.
The mayor held a press conference, his usual calm veneer cracked by the pressure. "We will get to the bottom of this," he promised, but the words rang hollow.
The journalist's investigation took a dangerous turn when she uncovered a hidden ledger listing payments to several influential town figures, including the police chief, certain business owners, and even the mayor himself. The ledger detailed hush money paid to silence victims and their families, keeping the cycle of disappearances under wraps. Late one night, as the deputy continued his covert surveillance, he caught the chief meeting with a shadowy figure near the edge of the woods. Hidden behind trees, he watched as they exchanged an envelope and exchanged harsh words. The deputy snapped photos, but before he could follow them, the chief noticed his presence and gave chase. The deputy barely escaped, his heart pounding as he fled through the forest's oppressive darkness.
Back at the station, tensions boiled over. The mother confronted the chief in a heated showdown, demanding the truth.
The chief, cornered and desperate, lashed out with threats and veiled confessions, hinting at a deeper network of corruption that extended beyond the town's borders. As the layers peeled away, the true mastermind emerged, not the police chief, but the mayor himself.
The mayor had orchestrated the entire cover-up, using his influence to manipulate the investigation and protect a lucrative human trafficking ring operating under the guise of legitimate business.
The missing girls were pawns in a cruel game, disappearing into a hidden world of exploitation. In a final twist, the missing girl was found alive, held captive in an isolated compound miles from town, guarded by hired mercenaries. The rescue was a tense, high-stakes operation that left scars on everyone involved. Her return was bittersweet, the trauma she endured would never fully fade, and the community was forever changed.
The mayor was arrested, and the corrupt network dismantled, but the shadows remained. The town's innocence was shattered, its dark secrets exposed to the light. The mother vowed to continue fighting for all the forgotten victims, while the deputy and journalist committed to ensuring such horrors would never happen again. In the end, Silent Woods would never be silent again.